Hi and welcome to the first Garachnids of 2019. And can I wish you all a belated Happy New Year as well. I thought before we move on to the main body of this video that I'd just take a few moments to recap, some of the things that are in the pipeline and ongoing things. As you know, I have talked about doing this series of British spiders, and that is still a work in progress. I'm going to delay it till the summer just purely because there doesn't seem to be much point in trying to cover that fully without being able to get hold of the spiders that I need to do that with. And a lot of them, especially obviously in Britain, hibernating or sadly are only around for the warmer months of the year. So once we've got back into warm months again, I'll start filming those and get them out to you as soon as possible. What I didn't want to do with this video is just turn it into another recap video of the year. Although I do like those, it's nice to look back at what you have achieved over the year. But because Garachnids hasn't been going for a year yet, I didn't think that this year would be a good idea. There's not really enough footage that we've taken to create something different, to create a true look back. So that's something that I'll maybe look at doing next New Year. Again, sort of moving on with other information, the invertarium now is actually starting to gather pace. It's all been prepared up there. All I need to do now is literally insulate the place and we're ready to go. That's it, and that's as far as we've got really. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, in the next few weeks that we can start moving things up there and finally get the ball rolling fully. And that'll be a massive move forward for us because obviously it'll give me more room. There'll be I'll be able to have more inverts, etc. And just watch your space and let's just see how that unfolds. I'd also like to thank you now. We've got 81 subs. Excuse the noisy finch. Yeah, we've got 81 subs now, which is absolutely brilliant. It's moving further ahead faster than I thought it would do. So I'd just like to thank all my viewers out there. So much for last year. The amount of support and the lovely messages I got were, I just didn't expect them. And it's been for as much as this, as I said with Garachnids, it is an invert journey, and obviously I've got other things as well. But part of that journey I've realised is communicating with you lot, and I've got some absolutely amazing feedback. I've got some critical feedback, but it's all been positively critical, and I really like that type of thing. So please keep it up. Really happy with that, and I hope you are too. But what I thought was, like I said before, once we get to 100 subs, I'm quite happy to do that, the live session. I think that's something to look forward to for us both, you know. So let's get them 100 subs and let's get that live session out, because I'd love to see how that goes. What I thought I'd do for this video is go through my top 10 New World species. So basically what I feel is my top 10. As probably most of you have seen in various other sort of like channels, it's quite hard to decide what your top 10 are. It's certainly took quite some doing for me, but I think I'll get it down to, well, there's 11 because there's 2 number ones. I know it's a bit of a cop out, I know, but I couldn't decide, and I thought I'd rather do that than leave one out or pass it down to number 2. And what I will have as well is there'll be a few honourable mentions there of things that didn't quite make it into the top 10, but I still think they're deserving of a mention. So without further ado, let's get on with that. Okay then, so the top 10 New World Tarantulas as chosen by myself. Right, okay, well, we'll start at number 10 and we'll work his way up to that number 1 spot. So straight in at number 10 for me in particular was the Garachnids geniculata. Since I started keeping tarantulas, this spider has really been a firm favourite with me. Not because of its, although it does have a striking colour. It was the first spider really that I kept that had that incredible feeding response. So for me, it sort of like it came with the wow factor. Certainly, as I started keeping them, I wanted something different. This was a guy I turned to, and in a way, the Garachnids geniculata was a bit of a bridger as well, because into the old world, sorry, because because it's a bit faster, a bit more feisty than your general New Worlds. This provided a good bridge for me then to move on to the Old Worlds. I have 2 in my collection, and I wouldn't part with either of them. Sadly, they're both males, and I'm hoping at some point to get a female and to breed these, because, as I say, they are one of my favourites, certainly in my top 10. So, yeah, number 10 place goes to the Acanthoscurria geniculata. So, moving on to number 9 then. Number 9 is one that doesn't get much of a mention, really, and it's another Acanthoscurria. It's the Acanthoscurria musculosa. Beautiful, beautiful spider. I myself have only got a tiny one, which you can see over in this corner at the moment. I can't wait for it to get a bit bigger and to get that beautiful velvet colour to it. I mean, it is actually known as a Brazilian black velvet, if I remember rightly, and I think it's going to be an absolutely outstanding, beautiful spider as it gets bigger. It's got that look of the Grammostola pulchra about it. Just something, I can't really put my finger on it. It's just one of those je ne sais quoi spiders. Great feeding response as you can expect from any of the Acanthoscurrias. So definitely, if you're looking for a spider that's just a little bit different from the geniculata, and you like your black spiders, certainly look at investing in one of these, because I certainly have been really happy with it. Mine's on the sling, as I've said, and it still has that unique feeding response. So, yeah, in number 9 place, it's the Acanthoscurria musculosa. Moving on to number 8 then. Now, this is a spider, when I first started getting into the hobby, way before I had any spiders of my own, that I saw and was unable to find at the time. It's a little spider who, it's well known for its inquisitiveness. I don't know if you've ever watched Tom's Big Spiders, but he featured this species and showed to great effect how inquisitive they are. Coming at number 8, I should say, for me, is the Homeoma species red, and that's formerly known as Euathlus species red. Now, these little spiders are something, like I said, that I've sought after. I've actually got 2 slings now, and as you can see over here, amazing little spiders. They've not got their adult colours yet, but when they do, for me, they're a complete package for a beginner spider as well. So if you are looking to delve into the world of tarantulas, certainly this would be one of my recommendations. They eventually end up a lovely black colour with an almost it's a red rear, a red abdomen that fades through into the black. Absolutely beautiful. Certainly, please, if you're thinking of going down this route and getting your first tarantulas, certainly do consider these. I mean, check them out on the internet and have a good look at what they look like in their adult form, and they are stunning. They're one of the smaller tarantulas. They are a dwarf species, I believe, and for that reason, I think even if you got an adult one, they wouldn't overpower you as a starter. So, yeah, certainly one of my favourites. Not because of the colour, although the colour is beautiful. It's just the general inquisitiveness of them. They're just amazing little spiders, and I certainly wouldn't be without them. I can't wait for my 2 slings to achieve, to get to adulthood, to see them all the full glory. So, yeah. So, moving on to number 7 then. Something of a difference here. I'm sure most of you have heard of them, but something I, again, saw in my years before I started keeping tarantulas and thought to myself, I need to get one of them. I've only ever found them once, and I took the opportunity to get 2 of them when I did see them. So it's the Neostenotarsus species Suriname. So my apologies if I have just butchered that, because my Latin isn't at the best. But it's basically, they call it the red patch, the Suriname red patch. That's its common name. Beautiful spider again. I mean, quite a few will be familiar of the pumpkin patch. And these are a similar looking spider, but instead of having the yellow, have the red on the abdomen again. Beautiful. Sorry, my apologies for the finch. It's really loud today. Anyway, getting distracted. Beautiful spider. Something that, again, doesn't grow very big. It's another dwarf species, but absolutely beautiful. Can be a bit skittish, I think it's the best word. Mine can be quite flighty at times. Although, to be fair, with them being only youngsters, most slings are flighty. So it could be that as they get older, they settle down a bit, but you know, we'll just have to see how it goes with that. But definitely, I can recommend these. Maybe not quite a beginner species, maybe beginners intermediate. I'd certainly look at getting them. Absolutely beautiful spiders, you can see. So, yeah, once my achieve adult coloration again, absolutely beautiful. So again, I'd ask you to check out what they do look like. I mean, I'll try and stick one down here of an adult form, if I can find a picture, because believe it or not, they're not that easy to find stuff on them on the internet. But yeah, the red patch, beautiful spider. So then, moving on to number 6. This one had a little special place in my heart, really. It's the Brachypelma amelia. Now, the reason for that is, as I mentioned in previous videos, it was the first tarantula I ever got. I was very lucky to get one that was very, very laid back as well. She's done brilliant things for me. She's guided me on my journey. So I had to include the Brachypelma amelia in this list. Not only because they are beautiful tarantulas, but they are such a good beginners species. I certainly highly recommend them. The good feeding responses, they tend to be quite laid back. Of course, I mean, it's like with anything else, you always get the odd ones that aren't. They can vary from time to time. But on a whole, the Brachypelma amelia for me is one of the best ever beginner species, and I do highly recommend them. And this is why this one's made the list today. So again, moving on, number 5, Cyrtocosmus elegans. Beautiful, beautiful little spider. It was another one again that once I first got into this hobby, I sought after. And it's for all those out there that I've heard of these tarantulas, the little dwarf tarantulas that have tiny little hearts on their abdomen. Beautiful colours. It's almost an orangey colour, contrasts beautifully with the black, and then they've got a kind of grey silver sheen to the legs as well. Beautiful, beautiful tarantula. I couldn't leave them out of this top 10. Again, another dwarf species. I'm not realised until looking back now how many dwarf species have included on this, but the Cyrtocosmus elegans are absolutely superb. Beautiful, beautiful tarantula. Easy to keep again. A good beginner species, and another one that doesn't grow too big. So again, if you feel intimidated by those big spiders and you don't want to start there, this is another perfect example of a dwarf that's a really good beginner's one as well. So then, moving on from that, then at number 4 we have, of course, it had to be included really, the C. cyanopubescens. We can't leave it out. Not the green bottle blue. It is an absolutely beautiful spider. Again, watching videos before I started actually actively keeping these spiders, I was amazed at this spider that included such colours with the green, metallic green and blue, and the orange abdomen. It really stood out as something special. As an animal, as keeping them, they can be quite skittish. Mine aren't too bad, to be fair. The 2 of mine are slings. I've actually got 3 of them, and the other one's an adolescent. So that one's just starting to settle down now. I still class them as good beginners tarantulas as well. You're certainly not going to get too many problems with them, and I think out of the new worlds, they are one of the most colourful ones, very sought after because of that reason. So they'd certainly be up there on my to get list if I didn't have them. Give them a check out on the internet. Beautiful, beautiful spiders, and as you can see from mine up here, this one that I'm showing you now is one of my slings. It's the second largest sling. and this is also something interesting, that the juvenile form is differently coloured than the adult form. So you're almost getting two spiders in one here, because the juvenile form is absolutely beautiful too. So yeah, that's the green bottle blue. Definitely had to make it into that top 10. So we'll let Richard now the last three, and number 3 on my list here is a Tarantulas sturmey. It had to be there. I've been enraptured, I think, by these spiders since I first took my first steps on the journey. Going from someone who had terrible arachnophobia, I was really bad, to within a few months getting my first sturmey. I mean, I don't recommend rushing into getting any of these spiders, and certainly not a sturmey, not one of the Goliaths, because they're definitely intermediate upwards, I would say. Certainly not a beginner spider, mainly due to the fact that they grow to a large size. They have very large fangs, even large for the tarantulas. They have a few inch fangs. I'm not sure exactly how long the fangs get, but they're big. And also they have one of the worst urticating hairs in the New Worlds, which obviously if it gets into your eyes or down your throat, they could have quite bad consequences. But putting that aside, I certainly don't want to put anybody off getting one of these. I'd love to eventually add the blondie and the name's going out of my head, I will remember it, but the other Goliath in any case. So these 3 types. Is it Aponensis? I can't remember in any case. Yeah, I'd like to eventually have all 3, because they are fascinating spiders. There is something very, very different about them, even the slings. My sling now is probably as big as some of my adolescent tarantulas, but it's still a sling. It's still a baby. When they're younger, they tend to have the normal brown sling colour, but certainly on my sturmey, it's got 4 white socks on. It's quite an amazing little thing. I know others have either no or 4 socks on the other feet as well, so depending on which species it is. Absolutely fantastic spider, like I say. Both mine are slings, and again, I got them young for a reason. I wanted to see them develop. I wanted to see them grow, because this is a spider legendary for its size. So if you'd have just got it as a large spider, I don't think you appreciate really its journey to getting there. And again, once again, Garachnids is all about journeys. So yeah, this one had to make my list. Not because of the way it looks. It's your basic brown tarantula, but it's a big brown tarantula, the biggest. So yeah, and again, my 2 will be following their journey to adulthood on this channel, hopefully. Okay then, so we're on to number 2 now. And number 2 is a tarantula that I got only a few months ago. A relatively new addition to my ever-growing tarantula invertarium. And it's the Panthobeteus species Macala. I couldn't leave it off. I've got a female, and when I got her, there was hints of purple, there was hints of pink, but they were very diluted. And literally in the last week she shed, and the colours are fantastic. I've not included video for this one, but if you have a look at these pictures here, you can get some idea of the colour of these tarantulas. They are out of this world. I mean, again, I've mentioned the green bottle blue, but this is a different level. They are superb, absolutely superb. Again, I don't think it's something that's a beginner species. I will go for more intermediate with this. Fantastic feeding response, rather. Just an all-round good tarantula. I mean, the one I keep is in a glass tank, just purely because it needs to be seen. It definitely is one of those specimens that you want on display. Absolutely beautiful tarantulas. I certainly would look at breeding these, because they're just stunning, absolutely stunning, as you can see. So Before we get to that number one spot, I just want to include a couple of honourable mentions, really. When I started compiling this list, I found it very, very hard to get it down to 10. I know there's loads of tarantula keepers out there that they can't do it. It's very hard to get 10. The reason we have so many is because we love them all. We love every one of them. But there are some that's just fallen out of that 10, and now thinking about it, I'm just thinking, should I have included them in there? But anyway, I think one of my honourable mentions has to go to this guy, and this is the Brachypelma smithi, sorry. It was called, this is the one basically, there's been name change. I don't know if you know about the name change. There's name changes all the time for tarantulas. It is a nightmare to keep on top of it. And this one's recently had a name change, and the previous name totally escapes me. I'll put it down at the bottom of the screen in any case. But yeah, so this is the giant orange knee. So unlike its close relative, the red knee, this one grows bigger, and from the information I've read from people who've met them in the wild, that have experienced breeders, these become a lot more colourful than the red knee. So, mine's only a sling, so as the months go by, we're going to follow it and see how it develops. She is probably due a shed. I'm saying she. I don't know if it's a she or a male, but I think it's due a shed. And what I'll do is I'll make sure that when she does shed, we cover it on the Garachnids channel, because I think she'll look stunning. So, what else? Yes, of course, Nando chromatis. Again, didn't make my top 10, but again, a beautiful spider. This is one of mine. This is I've got no adults of these. They're all slings, and I've got quite a few slings. I think I've got about 5. I do really like the chromatis. I like the colour. Again, it's that contrast you have, like with the green bottle blue. The red abdomen and the contrasting black and whites really pops for me. It's a beautiful spider, especially with the white thorax as well. It's just a beautiful spider. Good feeding responses. I'd go as far as to say this is probably a beginner species. Again, can be a bit flighty, can be a bit skittish, but overall I've had no problems with mine. Obviously, I've noticed now that the oldest one, which this is, has started settling down, and she's becoming a lot more less skittish than she used to be. See, what you've got to realise as well with slings, it's the 99% of their defence is run. It's the only thing they've got, being so small. So 99% of slings are skittish. It's just the way it is. So yeah, I couldn't really do a video without including the Nando chromatis, sorry, because I really do think it's a beautiful spider. Really do. Yeah, so I think that's brought us nicely onto the number one spot. Now, as I said before, bit of a cop-out, I know, and I'm really sorry about this, but I could not have one number one. It was just impossible for me. So it's a double number one. So my choice is, my number one New World spider is the Brachypelma auratum and Gramstola pulchra. And a lot of people are going to go, oh, Gramstola pulchra. But when it comes down to it, there's a reason why the Gramstola pulchra is so loved and ends up at top of many New World lists. They're absolutely stunningly beautiful. The black, the deep black that they become as they get older, and their propensity to be calm spiders. And again, I know that there's a big debate amongst tarantula keepers about these spiders, about whether they are suitable beginner species. I personally think they are. But like anything, if you keep dogs, you keep cats, they have days when they can be a little bit crabby. and there's days when they're fine. It's the same with spiders. They have moods, as it were. And certainly, I mean, my poker is only a sling, as you can see from this picture. But she's gorgeous, and I wouldn't change it. And again, I wanted to see her grow. I wanted to see her change from that little brown sling into this impressive, magnificent black spider. I get most of my spiders as slings because of that pure reason, because I love to see that change happen. And unfortunately, I know with some of the brachypelmas and the grammostolas, it is a slow change, because they do live a long time. They take a long time to get to adulthood, but that's the price you pay. And to be fair, it's a small price to pay to get such a beautiful spider. Feeding responses are absolutely out of this world. Again, they're like a geniculata. They just love the food. So on that side as well, they're a great spider to have. Going back to the Brachypelma auratum, which was also their joint number one. This spider was the first spider I ever handled. Now, I don't advocate handling. As you know, as I've said in other videos, most of my specimens are there to look at. You wouldn't have a goldfish and expect to handle it. But spiders, I don't think, should be handled unless you need to. I certainly work with them certainly at the Durham Valley Pet Centre. I work with them a lot. I handle them there purely because I like to show people that I went through it myself, that you don't have to be fearful of these things. The amount of people we've had in recently who've actually plucked up the courage to have them walk across their hands. You've seen in one of my previous videos how the lady reacted to it walk across her hand. And people don't look back after that. They realise that tarantulas are not this horrible thing that you should be fearful of. That they are actually amazing creatures. And so, going back to slightly off target there, but going back to the Brachypelma auratum, A, because it was the first spider I handled, and B, because of colours. Again, you can have a look at your green bottle blue, you can look at your Nandule chromatus, but for me, the black spider with the bright red. Excuse me, one moment. I can hear it rattling. Sorry about that. The black spider with the highlights and then these perfect little flames on the knees. I don't know if you can just see from this picture. This is my male. I also have 4 slings of these because I absolutely love the spiders that, and I genuinely want to start breeding these as soon as possible. But like I said before, slow growing species. It's going to be a while before I can look at doing that, unless I can find some adults out there. But yeah, so those two came in at number 1 for me. By all means, drop me a message. Let me know what would have been your number 1. Do you agree with my choices? Is there anything that I've not put over right? Am I not right on certain beginner species? Let me know. Let me see what you think. Again, once again, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, put a thumbs down. But please let me know why you didn't like it. Give me that constructive criticism again, because we do like it here and we can build from it. Don't forget, if you want to help Garachnids further, there's a Patreon site. And again, it's not one single patron yet, so please be the first to help me and help these animals here as well, and help make future videos and to keep creating them and get new things to show you. And apart from that, don't forget to press that notify button. I'll get it right one week. Notification button even, because that'll let you know as soon as we've got new videos out there. And I think that's about it really. Until next time, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next episode.